Hey, it's Mark Wahlberg. Welcome to Click TV.
Welcome to Click TV.
So, why don't you tell me how a guy from Dublin ends up being in one of the biggest trilogies ever made?
A pure luck, really, and that's not being coy and stupidly modest and stuff. It's luck. I was shooting a show called Being Human for BBC Three in Cardiff at the time, and Peter was aware of the show, and he knew I was in Britain at the time, and he was over meeting other actors for the show, and he just called me down, and we met, and we got on, and I don't know, about 2 or 3 months later, you get the call and you get offered the job, and it's all a bit mad.
And was there a casting then? I mean,
that was kind of the casting, really. I mean, I read with Peter when I was in the room and stuff, and I was given the sides of the pages beforehand, and I had an idea what was going on and stuff, but I hadn't even read The Hobbit. I convinced myself I didn't have time. Of course I had loads of time, I just didn't do it. For some reason, some stupid reason, but it didn't seem to matter, because I told Peter as soon as I walked in the room, and he just proceeded to take the next kind of 40 minutes telling me all about The Hobbit. So it probably worked for me in an underhand way.
Sure. Well, did you read the book yet, or?
Oh yeah, of course.
So it's a short book.
There's
no excuse.
There's no excuse. Yeah, exactly.
Well, when you were offered the part, then was there ever kind of a point where you said you considered saying no, because it's such a big commitment, I suppose?
It's funny. I don't think I'll ever hear that question again. But it is. I didn't consider saying no. Definitely not. But there is a bit where you kind of go, this is going to be a year and a half out of my life, and I'm going to be in New Zealand, away from my folks and my friends and everything, so yeah, you do. It does enter your thoughts. I mean, you do consider it, but consider it for a whole half a second, then you go, yeah, when do you want me there?
Could be crazy to say no, really.
Oh, of course, I'd never live it down.
Well, what's your first connection to the world then? Would it have been the Lord of the Rings movies or books?
I guess Lord of the Rings movies. Really, I hadn't read the books, and I don't know if I will. I'll be honest with you. The movies are enough for me.
So you're not going to. You haven't read the Lord of the Rings books, but you read
the
Hobbit?
No, I haven't. I haven't read the Lord of the Rings books.
And were you forced to read kind of the appendices and all the bits
invariably, you find out quite a lot anyway. I mean, but different books are thrown at you, in fact, and different pages are thrown, and you just hear different dialogue with different people. I mean, Ian is obviously a well accomplished Tolkien fan, and there's other actors in it too that know their stuff. So
so you use them as cliff notes.
You kind of use them as cliff notes. You really do. But it's interesting because you kind of walk into a set and you kind of, what's that room? I mean, you're in Erebor, you kind of go, why is this such and such? And they tell you about it, and you find out different bits, and it kind of happens that way. It's more fun anyway. I mean,
sure. It means you don't have to do any actual study.
Exactly.
Well, there were quite a few production delays. I mean, you've been on the film for about 2 years now. You were confirmed, and then a director dropped out, some actors dropped out, and then there were money issues. And was that very frustrating? Did you ever think it might not happen?
No, it wasn't frustrating at all. I mean, it was a late start for the film, but we were in dwarven boot camp anyway. We were training and stuff like that, so it didn't really matter. It gave us another, I think, 2 or 3, possibly even a month longer there. So that was fine. And with the other actor dropping out, Rob, who was playing Kili, it was a bit of a shock actually. It was a huge shock, in fact. I mean, and it all happened so quickly. I mean, he was around one day and he was gone the next kind of thing.
And you've been working with him for a while.
Yeah. We'd be working together, getting on. But I just think for whatever reasons, he had his own thing going on, and I think from the beginning it was starting anyway and stuff. Okay. So he just had to split, unfortunately. But
then you had Dean O'Gorman come in.
Then Dean O'Gorman, and I spent the last year and a half with him, and he's like a brother. He's a close friend.
Sure. Well, did you have to do any special work to kind of build that relationship, or
to make him a better actor? Loads of stuff. No, not really. I mean, he's a chilled out Kiwi guy. We got on great, and he's a fairly well accomplished actor anyway, and he slipped into the role, and yeah, it was just easy. It was a joy.
Well, it's a massive cast. I mean, did you ever feel like it was kind of difficult to distinguish yourself, particularly when there's so many other dwarven characters?
Not really. I think they cast really well. I mean, they got a lot of different actors, and I think more importantly, they made the look of all the dwarves so different. I mean, I think the sort of the mission statement was to make all the dwarves, if you could get a silhouette of all of them on a hilltop, that you could tell which one was which, and that was kind of the motive of the mission statement, as you like. So no, it wasn't so hard, and being one of the youngest guys, less makeup and prosthetics on, and so no, standing out. But standing out was never really. It's not something I would have been conscious of anyway. I think naturally it just kind of evolves. So.
Well, you hadn't read the books. I mean, were you aware of the fact that there's so much singing in them before?
Oh God,
was that a thing?
Yeah, I was, unfortunately, because I don't have a voice, and I was quite nervous about that. So they turned me way down in the mix. Thank God. But Yeah, but it's nice. I mean, the songs are great. I wouldn't be a huge musical fan per se, but I think they work really well in this story. I mean, and obviously the lyrics are Tolkien and stuff. It's not like something Jackson made up at the last minute. These are stories, songs that are in the book and stuff. So
you've seen the Lord of the Rings movies. I mean, were you, like everybody else, were you a fan of them? I mean,
I was a fan. Yeah, I don't know how you couldn't be a fan. I mean, even if it's not your particular sort of thing. I mean, it's impossible not to get into them and adore them for what they are. Yeah.
So what was it like then, walking onto a Lord of the Rings, a
Bizarre,
Middle-earth set?
really weird, yeah, really odd. And people say, it's a lot of green screen stuff. It's a lot of green stuff. It's a lot of real set too. I mean, the green drapes are right at the walls of the huge sound studios. I mean, they're gigantic warehouses, and you can't really see them sometimes for all the set that's in the way. I mean, Mirkwood Forest and stuff, I mean, you could never see. You're in the forest, you could get lost in that forest, no sweat. I mean, it's quite bizarre. I think we did a few times. You take a wrong turn, and suddenly you have an art department guy going, no, you gotta go this way. Oh, shit. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of the real thing there as well. So it's quite amazing. It takes your breath away.
Because you shot them all together, do you find it hard when people are asking you questions to remember where this movie ends?
It
no
did
spoilers.
Before we watched the movie. Actually, I was thinking, God, where have we got up to, and where are the cuts, and what's in and what's out, and there's other bits like Lake Town and stuff that come up, which is a big deal for us and for my character and all that. And you kind of think, no, that's the second movie, or is it the third movie? And you kind of there's a bit of that going on, but once you see the movie, you're obviously well acquainted with what's going on again.
So you haven't thrown out any spoilers back?
Not yet, no, but there isn't really any spoilers, because I mean the book was written in 1937. Sure. I don't know what I can spoil. It's been spoiled for many years.
Well, there are some changes, but I suppose they all were pre-existing as well.
But a lot of it, they're not just fabricated really. I mean, there might be one or two small bits that aren't even associated with the first movie, but a lot of it comes from the appendices from the Lord of the Rings. He's taken out bits that were talked about from the Hobbit, so it's not just pulled out of the ether,
Well, you haven't done a lot of action before in your roles. I mean, you got to do loads in this, probably the most of all of the actors in it. Was that a lot of fun to do?
It was a lot of fun. It was great. I mean, it's kind of nice when you don't have to worry about delivering dialogue sometimes. You just get a sword and you're just told to run,
Well, had you ever done archery before? Was that part of boot camp?
That was part of boot camp, yeah. I didn't get to do it before. And it was cool. A few of us got in on that, and I got to go head-to-head with Orlando Bloom, who kicked my ass, fortunately, on the archery skills. Yeah,
he's had 10 years of practice.
He's had 10 years of practice.
Well, but they always do extended cuts of these movies. There's one planned for next year. Will we get to see more of your character then?
I hope so. I mean, yeah, it's hard to know what's going to be cut and what's not going to be cut, and it's there's so much there. So I don't know. It's down to Peter. I hope so. I hope I'm still in it.
And you're back for reshoots early 2013.
I think we have a month or 6 weeks to do in sometime around June. Battle of the Five Armies stuff, just more battles.
Okay, you're not going to talk about any more specifics, but sure, we know what happens anyway.
We know what happens.
Sure. Well, I suppose finally, what can we expect when we go and see the first Hobbit movie?
It's just a big old classic adventure. It's a roller coaster ride. It's obviously going to be amazing to see it in 48 frames if you get an opportunity to do that. I know a lot of cinemas won't show it in that, but if you can, I would say go and see it that way. It's quite a spectacle. It's the ultimate quest movie, isn't it?
Great.
Lovely. Thank you.
Thanks very much, man.